Welcome to the World Psychic Center channel. If you have found this video or selected this video, it means that the following readings are meant for you. We're going to be exploring the question, what is next month going to be like for you? You're going to have your choice of 3 different tarot card reading options. You can select from the red crystal ball, the blue crystal ball, or the green crystal ball. Feel free to select now and skip ahead in the video to the corresponding reading for the red crystal ball, blue crystal ball, or green crystal ball right now. We're going to be starting this reading by taking a look at what's in store for you with the tarot cards underneath the red crystal ball. The question that we're going to be exploring again is, what is next month going to be like for you? Of course, there's more than just one card underneath this crystal ball. In fact, we have 5 cards. We're going to lay out those 5 cards and see what is in store for you in the month ahead. Now, the way that this is going to work is I'm going to flip each card over one at a time. With each card I flip over, I'm going to give you a brief description of each card. And once all 5 cards are flipped over, I'm going to tell you what those cards are saying together. Of course, I consider myself a guide, and my goal here is to read these cards as honestly and as accurately as possible. Let's take a look at each card now. Here we go. The first card that we have now is the Magician. And the Magician card essentially represents manifestation, bringing dreams and realities into fruition. Okay, now on the table here we have all of the different symbols that can be found in the tarot. We have the pentacle, we have the cup, we have the sword, and the wand, which represents the individual featured in this card having the ability to bring the future that they want into reality through manifestation. Let's take a look at the second card that we have here. And the second card is the Queen of Swords. And the Queen of Swords essentially represents logical decision making. Now, sometimes when you're making a logical decision, you don't think a lot about emotions. Let's take a look at the third card. The third card that we have here is the 8 of Wands. And this card essentially represents rapid action, things moving quickly. Let's take a look at our fourth card that we have here, and the fourth card is the 7 of Swords. Now, I do warn you about this card. The 7 of Swords represents deception and trickery. Let's take a look at the 5th card and the last card for the red crystal ball reading, and this card shows the 10 of Wands. And the 10 of Wands represents carrying a heavy load, having a struggle, burden. It represents a difficult time ahead, and it doesn't necessarily represent obstacles, but it represents difficulty in what you may be doing. Now, of course, the question that we are looking into with this is, what does the next month going to be like for you? What is next month going to be like for you? Let's look at the cards combined and see what's going to happen. It does say that the month is going to start out in a pretty positive way here. Of course, the manifestation card talks about you moving forward with something that you had planned, whether or not it's a dream or something that you want to make happen. It does say that you do have the ability to make something happen in a positive way next month. The way to move forward with that and to make that positive situation happen is by thinking logically. And in fact, the Queen of Swords represents you thinking logically over emotionally. This talks about the decisions that you're going to need to make next month to move things forward in your life in a positive way need to be logical decisions. Don't make a lot of your decisions based on emotions or feelings one way or another. Look at the logic of the situation. Now, if you look at things logically and you focus on making your dreams a reality next month, things will move forward quickly. But this reading does take a more negative spin. Do know that there may be people that are competing against you. This thing that you may be working on, and this does feel like some sort of a project, or it could be career related energy from what I'm feeling from these cards, okay? About what next month is going to be like for you. We got the Seven of Swords, which represents deception and trickery. I feel like there's somebody in your presence right now who will essentially be giving you incorrect information. Now, they might not be purposely trying to deceive you, but do note that the information that you get from them will not be accurate. So note that if you're moving forward with something, you're trying to move something forward in your career next month, or you're trying to get a project off the ground, note that any information that you may be receiving from a third party, this could be a family member, this could be a friend, this could be somebody that you're in a relationship with or married to. Note that they may be giving you insight and information in regards to that project that you're working on that will end up being incorrect, okay? Now, deception and trickery, okay? That's essentially what this card represents. And I don't think that this person is intentionally trying to deceive you and trick you. But what they say will be so incorrect that will actually lead you in the wrong direction and in turn will cause issues. And trickery, in a way, know that regardless of whether or not you follow this advice or not, the journey ahead for you for this project or career-related endeavor isn't necessarily going to be an easy one. The Ten of Wands represents burden, carrying a heavy load, and know that this is something that is going to be necessary next month in order for you to achieve your goal. Now, that being said, this difficulty, this burden that you might be experiencing in relation to this may only last for the month. Things might turn into a lot more of a positive direction a month after. Okay, but do note that there could be difficulty if you follow the wrong advice, but know that you do have the ability to manifest that project, that career endeavor forward in a positive way. If you make logical decisions, things will move rapidly. And regardless of whether or not you avoid this negative information, there still may be some difficulties, but if you can avoid this incorrect information, you can make your life a lot easier. Let's go ahead and we're going to move forward to the next crystal ball. Now, if you selected the blue crystal ball, this reading is for you. And the question that we're going to be exploring is, what is next month going to be like for you? Now, underneath the blue crystal ball, we have 5 cards. I'm going to lay out those 5 cards now, and we're going to find out exactly what's in store for you next month. Here we go. Now, something to know about me is that I consider myself a guide. My goal here is to read these cards as honestly and as accurately as I can in order to give you the information to help you move your life forward in a positive way. Of course, the question once again that we're asking is, what is next month going to be like for you? And we're going to be flipping each one of these cards over one at a time. With each card I flip over, I'm going to give you a brief description of that card. And once all 5 cards are flipped over, I'm going to tell you what next month has in store for you. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started. The first card that we have here is the Page of Swords. And the Page of Swords essentially represents a champion, a hero. Let's take a look at what the next card has. The second card that we have here is the Nine of Pentacles. Now, the Nine of Pentacles actually represents good outcomes. It represents achievement ahead for you. This is truly excellent. Let's take a look at the third card that we have here. And the third card represents the Chariot. And the Chariot represents getting in that driver's seat of your life and choosing a direction and moving your life forward. The next card that we have here is the Knight of Wands. And it represents using good decision-making ability and knowledge to move things forward in a positive direction. And the fifth card and last card for the blue crystal ball reading is the Fool card. And no, it doesn't mean that you're a fool, but what the Fool card represents is somebody who is so passionate about an idea or a direction that they're moving in that they freely jump into something without necessarily looking at all of the possible negative possibilities. Okay. Now this represents somebody that's so excited about an opportunity that they jump in sight unseen and they have complete faith that they're going to succeed. Although sometimes with this card, it means that blind faith could cause you to walk off a cliff. Now, let's see what all of these cards are saying together. And of course, the question once again that we have here is, what is next month going to be like for you? Well, I'll have some really great news for you here. The Page of Swords basically represents things really moving forward for you in a pretty positive way. The Page of Swords basically represents a champion, and it represents you being your own champion. It represents you moving forward with something next month that really you've been working towards for most of your life. In fact, moving forward and taking action to move that important project, that important life goal forward, you actually have a really high probability of success if you start moving your life forward in the direction that you've always wanted. We got the Nine of Pentacles here, which represents achievement. And in fact, this represents a very high level of achievement. In fact, there's only one card better than this one, and that's the Ten of Pentacles. But this talks about a high level achievement. Well, how are you going to be able to have a high level achievement? How are you going to bring that idea, bring that direction to life? Well, it's about getting in the driver's seat. Okay, you need to have belief that you're going to succeed. And in fact, according to the cards right now, you're going to. But in order to make your dreams come true, in order to make that important thing happen that you've been hoping for and waiting for and planning for, you got to get in that driver's seat. The Chariot shows somebody getting behind the wheel of a chariot. And you can see the chariot is being pulled by 2 sphinxes. Okay. You have a choice of direction to move into, but really it's about you making a decision to move forward. Of course, you're going to be using your experience and knowledge to make sure you're moving in the right direction. And in fact, you're going to have such faith that you're going to be able to achieve your goal. You're just going to want to jump into this and make it happen. What is next month going to be like for you? It's going to be a month filled with achievement. You're going to find drive. You're going to have the drive and ability to make something extremely important in your life that you've been looking to achieve happen. Next month is going to be when this is all going to start for you. And next month will be a chain reaction that will allow you to achieve many more things in the future as well. All you really need to do is jump in that driver's seat, start to push things forward, become your own champion. Okay? Do the work that's required and needed, and you will be successful. Use your knowledge to make sure that things move forward in a positive way, and don't be afraid to jump in and just get started. Now, if you selected the green crystal ball, this reading is for you. Of course, underneath the green crystal ball, we have 5 cards. Okay, the question that we're asking of these 5 cards is, what is next month going to be like for you? Give me a moment as I pull these 5 cards. Now, of course, once again, the question is, what is next month going to be like for you? And of course, this reading is for all the people who selected the green crystal ball. Something to know about me is that I consider myself a guide. My goal here is to read these cards as honestly and as accurately as I can in order to give you the information that you need to move your life forward in a positive way. The way this is going to work is I'm going to flip each card over one at a time. With each card I flip over, I'm going to give you a description of that card. Once all 5 cards have been flipped over, I'm going to tell you what those cards are saying combined, and I will answer the question, what is next month going to be like for you? Let's go ahead and get started. Are you ready? Here we go. The first card that we have here is the King of Swords. And this card actually represents making logical decisions. The second card that we have here is the Ace of Swords. Now, the Ace of Swords actually represents having strength and power. In fact, this card features a double-edged sword, which means the sword is sharp on both sides of the blade. With one side of the blade, you can use the sword to strike down those that stand in your way, or you can use the other side of the blade to protect. Let's take a look at the third card, and the third card that we have here is the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles represents a big opportunity for your future. In fact, below that, we have a hedge, an archway, and if you notice here, a path leading to mountains in the distance. This talks about a long journey that you're going to be on, filled with opportunity. Let's take a look at the fourth card. The fourth card is another pretty amazing card here. This is the King of Cups. And the King of Cups actually represents you keeping balance, even though things might be unstable. Let's talk about this card a little bit more in detail. You can see all of these blue wavy lines around the card. This is actually water. And in fact, this King's throne is floating on the ocean. If you look at the throne, you can see the throne is maybe made out of some type of stone. And the king itself is wearing heavy clothing, holding heavy items. And the throne itself, made from stone, should sink in the ocean. But for some reason, it does not. We can actually see that it's the ocean because there's a whale on this side, and there is a boat with red sails on the other. Something else that's interesting is if the king's throne was floating on the ocean, wouldn't it move with the water? It doesn't. Through sheer power of will, the king is able to keep the throne afloat and keep the throne perfectly still. As I said before, this card represents maintaining balance and control, even when you may be on unstable ground. Or maybe even if you're on the ocean and the waves are moving, you can remain controlled and perfectly still. Let's take a look at the fifth card. The fifth card that we have here, this is not a good card. And I did promise that I was going to read these cards honestly and accurately. This is the 10 of Swords. And the 10 of Swords actually represents backstabbing and betrayal. Okay? So, what is next month going to be like for you? I'm going to tell you right now. And we're going to talk about what these cards are saying together. It does look like as the month starts out, things are going to be moving forward in a logical way. It seems like you're going to be making the best decisions that you can under the circumstances. Note that there may be some difficulty on the way, and you may need to use your strength and power in order to move things forward in a positive way. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting about the Ace of Swords. I talked about how it's a double-edged sword, and that you may need to use this sword to strike down those that stand in your way. This is something to keep in mind as you move forward. Now, do know that next month is going to be really significant for you continuing your journey and heading towards positive achievements. As I said earlier, there's a path here leading to mountains in the distance, which means this card represents you being on a long journey, a journey filled with opportunities. Now, do note when you're on a long journey, that there may be bumps in the road along the way. Although positive things will happen, negative things could be happening as well too next month, and we're getting to that. Know that regardless of what may happen next month to you, whether or not it's positive or negative, note that you have it within you to maintain balance and keep things moving forward in a positive way. We have the 10 of Swords, which represents backstabbing and betrayal. And unfortunately, this means that somebody is going to be working against you next month. Although the feeling that I get from these cards is that things are going to work themselves out eventually, and whatever it is that you're working on next month and whatever direction you choose to move into, I do think ultimately you're going to have satisfactory results. Know that there's somebody in your life right now that is actually working against you. I don't feel that this is a family member. I feel like this is more someone in a working environment who's jealous of your success and what it is that you're doing. This could be a colleague, maybe a friend, but I don't think this is family, okay? And I feel like as you move towards the end of the month, this person is going to be trying to convince you to do something that doesn't really feel comfortable for you. I feel like this person is going to try to convince you to do something outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it's something that you've never done before. Maybe it's something that just morally doesn't feel right to you. Well, be very cautious of this. If somebody's really pushing you to do something that just doesn't feel right to you, they're most likely trying to backstab you or set yourself up in a situation where you actually look like the one doing bad things. Okay? So do be very careful of people trying to kind of push their will on you next month. And if somebody does make a suggestion for you to do something or tell you to do something and it doesn't feel right, remember, the Ace of Swords is on your side next month. So you have the ability to strike down those that stand in your way. Thank you for joining us in this video. And do note that if you do want to go back and take a look at what one of the other crystal balls may have said, you can always skip back and forth in this video to see what the other readings had in store. Of course, we were going through the readings related to the red crystal ball, the blue crystal ball, and the green crystal ball. Our question today was, what is next month going to be like for you. I'd like to thank you for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more great content.